Welcome to another episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill-Staxx, and today I got Nick Christopher, author. And what's up, Nick? How you doing, man?
I'm all right, brother.
Many different titles you have. Today we're gonna talk about the newer stuff that's going on, and because you know a lot of information about things that are going on in the life.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, so we talked off camera about when people bring their kids into the life.
That's correct.
Yeah, and so you want to explain a little bit about what we were talking about earlier?
Well, yeah, I mean, just recently, as we discussed, Joey Amato Jr. and Joey Amato Sr. Got pinched, about 2 weeks ago in Staten Island over something really stupid. The son, Joe Jr., put a tracking device on his girlfriend's car so he knows where she's going. She found it and put it somewhere else and then reported it about the tracking device. And the authorities got wind of it. So they got the tracking device, and that obviously it led them to Joey Amato Jr. So he got pinched, obviously, for harassment.
What did the son get arrested for?
Well, this is the son. This is the son I'm speaking of, Junior. Senior, with the son, got arrested for extortion, for extorting a guy for money that this guy owed him. So they both got pinched around the same exact time. For a similar.
I got him pulled up on my side. It says I'm busy before I even got inducted into the Colombo crime family. Sit downs, everything. Nobody ever questioned. Co-signed. A big deal now. He's got his hands in everything. That's John Carbone in the mid 2014, referring to Amato's status in the Colombo crime family. It's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, well, Amato Sr. had a pretty good rep in the Colombo crew. His son, he was a made guy, but he wasn't to the same level as his father.
So his father, what was his father involved in? Was he capo?
Yeah, he was a captain, and he ran a lot of stuff in Staten Island. The son he's from New Jersey, but their operations was based in Staten Island. Joey Amato Sr. Actually was close with Wild Bill Catolo, whose son was also involved in the life, which brings us to what you were mentioning earlier, how fathers bring in their sons into the life, where ironically back in the day it was frowned upon. They didn't want their kids involved. A lot of the older guard, like the Carlo Gambinos of our day, the Lucky Lucianos, the Maya Lanskys, those guys.
They didn't bring their kids into the life, right? They didn't.
No, most of them didn't. I mean, I know you would say Gambino. Well, he had his brother Tommy, who was involved in it. They ran the garment industry, Tommy Gambino. But the difference is, Tommy Gambino wasn't a strong arm guy. He was a businessman. So he was connected, yes, but he wasn't like he wasn't the tough end of he wasn't a gangster, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you have guys like Wild Bill Catolo, who his son I know very well. We're good friends. Now Bill Jr. told me his father didn't want him in life, and I'll tell you a little story behind that.
It's Wild Bill.
Yeah, that's Wild Bill. That's Wild Bill. May he rest in peace. They were at a Wild Bill, his son Bill Jr. were at a funeral, and John Gotti happened to be at the funeral, and a lot of other wise guys. So Wild Bill was in the room, like in a funeral, there's like a waiting room where everybody talks. So Wild Bill was there with John Sr. and his son, Bill Jr. So John Sr. goes over to Wild Bill and says, "Hey, yo, Bo, I heard that your son's a chip off the old block. I hear that you might be possibly straightening him out." Wild Bill got offended because he didn't want his son involved in the life. Meantime, with Bill Jr., when he heard John Gotti say that, his chest just blew up. He felt like such an honor to hear John Jr. say that. John Sr., say that.
Yeah.
Now, while Bill, like I said earlier, never had any intentions of getting his son involved at all. As a matter of fact, Bill Jr. went to college. He went to Kingsborough College in Brooklyn. And when he graduated, his father was so happy, so thrilled that somebody in their family finally went to college. But after he went,
why did he end up getting into life then?
Well, that's what I was going to get to. After the graduation and all the celebration, Bill Jr. goes to his father. No, I'm sorry. While Bill asks Jr., "Oh, I'm so proud of you. What are you going to do now? Where do you want to go from here?" He was thinking school-wise, the father.
Mm-hmm.
And the son Jr. goes, "I want to be with you, Dad," which basically means he wants to be in the life. He wants to be his father's eyes and ears.
Yeah.
Bill Jr. did not like that. Bill Jr. was telling me when he told his father that, his whole face changed. It dropped from being happy that he graduated to being shocked that his son would even ask that. So Bill Sr. didn't want him in the life, but Bill Jr. asked, and he actually did get it. He never got made. Bill Jr. never got made, but he became an associate.
Was he proposed like under his dad? Was he proposed under his dad?
Yeah, he got, to put it plainly, he got involved by default. He ended up under his father's wing and doing things for his father, picking up stuff, gambling, whatever. But he never got made. But he was a force in the organization.
I'm trying to have him on my show soon.
I could talk.
Trying to get the schedules to match up. I talked to him today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I over Instagram.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I mean,
he said he was filming something.
He was
filming something.
Yeah,
he was filming.
Yeah, he's filming something.
Yeah, I forgot what he said.
Yeah, he's filming some kind of show.
I could erase if we mess up or anything, I could take anything out of the videos. We don't need to worry about anything. You could cough, you could sneeze, I could take all that out. Yeah, I'll make it. The video will be smooth, man. So like when you were like, "Oh, it's Bill," I mean, I think it was. I could take all that out too. It'll be like seamless.
Yeah, but it's okay. Whatever you want to do, it's very natural, regardless.
What's that other guy's name? Andrew. What's that guy's name?
Donato.
Yeah. What's his father in the life?
Yeah. No. Andrew was involved with the life on his own. He just, that was just, part of growing up in Bensonhurst and getting involved with the street life. Andrew was very close to Bill Jr. Actually, did a lot of work together. Now, when we're talking about John Gotti, same situation. No, not the same situation. Yeah. Sorry. John Sr. wanted his son involved in the life. He did send him to military school, thinking that maybe he thought that would change something. Obviously not. Mm-hmm. So Junior got involved in the life because his father kind of wanted him to.
Do you think
a lot of the guys in the life?
Do you think that his father wanted him? Do you think his father wanted him in the life to have his back or have his interests on the streets because he knew he was going to jail?
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing I was going to get to. See, when it comes to the Gotti family, the Gotti legacy, so to speak, some of these guys want their family involved only because they have their family close because they're the ones that they can trust. who are they going to trust more? They're going to trust family. So a lot of these guys do bring their kids or their cousins or their nephews or uncles into the life because they can insulate themselves and they got people around them they trust.
So do you think
Um,
so after they get their kids involved, do you think that hold on, man, this dude, you know who James Carnell is?
James Carnell. Doesn't sound familiar.
Oh, he's big, man.
No, I don't.
He's big, man. He's he's like a
it's hard to say.
The CEO, man. He I don't marketing and all that. Hold on, I'm trying to turn this off. Do you think that they get their sons involved in the life so that other people around them can go through their sons before they get to them? Is that what you mean by insulation?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, to some degree. They do that because it's not so much on that, but it's a matter of trust. Like John Gotti can trust Peter Gotti. He can trust Gene Gotti. He can trust his own son because when he has those guys in the top tier, he's covered. He's like a bulletproof vest because he knows he's got people that he can trust. Yeah. Same thing can be said in Chicago with Frankie Calabrese. Frankie Calabrese, his father, Frank Sr., wanted his son involved in the life. And he did get involved in the life. And who was he going to trust more? His son to do things and run his business. And so even though it didn't work out that way at the end, because Frankie Sr. Jr. ratted on his own father.
Did he?
Same could be said for old man son. Yeah. Frankie Jr. I know Frank. Frankie Jr. ratted on his father. But his father wasn't all there to begin with. The guy was nuts.
His father was pushing him into the life.
Yes,
I feel
that's
like
correct.
You know? Yeah, I don't understand how they can put their kids in that situation. You know.
Well, like I said, a lot of guys, the old school guys, didn't want their kids involved. I'll give you an example. Paulie Castellano. Paul Castellano, none of his kids are involved in life. None of them. He made it his business to open businesses, legit businesses for his kids. So they don't get anything nowhere near that kind of life, which is very smart. But Paul was a businessman. We all know this.
What about Paul? Do you know any of Paul Castellano's relatives?
Well, I don't. None of them are real. As far as I know, none of them are involved in the life.
Yeah, even if they're not involved in life, do you know any of them?
No, I don't. I have no connection with any.
I heard that
political life at all.
I heard that one of his sons has a restaurant down in Florida. I was going to try to get him on the show and try to interview him about having him as a dad.
Well, that would probably be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you got other families too. You got other families that I know, like the Arenas. Vic Arena, O-R-E-N-A. Vic Arena was also the Colombo guy. Vic Arena almost became the boss during the war with Carmine Persico. Now, Vic's two sons, John and Vic Jr., were involved in the life. They were soldiers. They were street soldiers.
Did they
were involved in it too.
Were they inducted?
Yes, as far as I know. But they're off. They were shelved a long time ago. So after the war, they got shelved. So they're no longer involved in that world. So I grew up with them. I grew up with the whole family.
I found the pictures of Joe Amato Sr. I found the pictures, Joe Amato Sr. That's the son.
Yeah, that's a kid. Yeah. The kid's about 20. He's right now, he's about 30 years old, I believe, right now.
Guy? Silvo Salone. I don't know who that is.
Me neither.
His picture was on there. This is the dad and this is the son.
Right. So
you knew Vic Arena's kids?
Yeah, well, Peter, his youngest Peter, went to school with my brother. Andy went to the same school I did, the other son. But Pete and Andy had nothing to do with the life. Only Jean and Vic Jr. But I grew up with them. They used to come to my dad's cafe every week, so I knew them pretty well. I mean, they were great people. To me, they were great.
So they
But that's
were
another
they
example.
troublemaker types? Were they troublemaker
I'm
types,
sorry.
or were they
No,
troublemaker
I mean
types?
not. No. I mean they weren't bullies. They didn't go around starting shit. They didn't do anything like that. You know, John Jr.'s territory. He started trouble wherever he went, pretty much. But
Have
John
you
Jr.
ever
was a bit.
seen? Yeah. Do you have any scenarios you could tell me about when John Jr. started some shit?
Well, I remember he started some kind of trouble at a Long Island club that I went to. It was called Channel. I believe it was Channel 80 out on the island. Very popular nightclub back in the 80s. And he got into some brawl there. He got the brawls in a lot of clubs. So that was one of them. I mean, I was there that one night where there's something happened outside of the club, and he beat some guy silly. Him and his friends. He used to come to the club and park his boat because the club was right by the water, and he used to come there in his boat and dock his boat and come to the club through the back. That's what he used to do. I never personally met him, but he was there. I was there the same night. I just didn't see him when that incident occurred. But again, you know, Junior was a bit of a bully compared to a lot of these other guys. That you know, you don't go out and start shit just because you got a name. You know, it's not usually the right thing to do, really, because it brings too much attention. But then again, his father brought a lot of attention to himself too.
Yeah, he ended up.
But
it ended up going bad for all of them.
Yeah, pretty much. But like I said, these are different. Like we said, sons that follow guys who bring their sons in to life.
So when back in the day, when you were younger, did you see that a lot? Like younger guys being groomed by their dads to be brung into life?
See the actual technique or how they groomed them. But instead, you know, like Vic used to come into the cafe with the guys all the time. He used to sit in the back of the cafe and talk. And that would be John and Vic Jr. in there. And I'm assuming bring him in there and talking to them. I would think he's trying to groom them. That's probably one of the reasons why you're bringing them in there.
Yeah.
So I never really saw the actual process, how they do it, which is probably very elementary. You know, hey, look, you got to do this, this, and this. They send you out to do that kind of a thing. You know, like when I got involved in
you went the other way, right? You didn't want to be involved with that life.
I know I did, and like I was about to tell you, I did a little football betting. I used to sell football sheets because there used to be a guy that used to come to my dad's cafe all the time, and we'll call him Sal. And he used to come in there and put the football. He used to go in the back of the cafe and into the office. And in the beginning, I didn't know what he was doing. I was like, "Why is that guy?" I was like 13 years old, and I was saying to myself, "What's this guy doing?" He comes at time. He goes right into the. He doesn't work there. I'm like, "What's he doing back at the cafe?" So my father says, "Don't worry about it. Let it go." So I got curious. I'm like, "What the hell? Something's up." So I figured it out what he was doing. He was taking bets, horse bets, and he was doing the football sheets. If you're football sheets, so what I did, I stole a bunch of them.
Yeah, you ended up
I started giving them out,
photocopying them, right?
You photocopied
them.
I'm sorry.
You said you photocopied them, didn't you?
I'm sorry again.
Didn't you photocopy the sheets?
Yeah, I photocopied the sheets.
Yeah,
and I would And I would sell them. I would bring them to school and have the Jewish kids bet with me, and the whatever, anybody bet with me. And I was making good money. I never kicked it back to Sally. That was the bad thing. So
but
eventually, my father found out.
Yeah, how did he find out?
Well, my dad found the football sheet in my room, and he said, "What are you doing?" I played stupid. I don't know. I took one to bet. He says, "No, you didn't," because it was a copy. It wasn't the original. So I said, "What are you doing with a Xerox copy of the football sheet?" So my father wasn't stupid. So he says, "You got to give this back to Sally."
It was a Xerox copy of Sally's football sheet. That's right.
Exactly.
So it was
right.
His writing on it and everything.
Well, the football sheet's it's printed out. It's got all the teams on one side, and on the other side the odds, and you pick your odds. Yeah. So when he found out, my dad's like, "Listen, any winnings you got, any shit you got to give it back to Sally. If he finds out, you're in trouble. Because if the office finds out, meaning the boys, you're fucked, basically." I said, "All right, no problem." So Sally used to come every Tuesday to take the bets. So I would go there. I said, "Sally," I told him what I did. He started laughing. He says, "Yo, bro, you started your own little business on the side. You didn't tell me." He said, where's my cut?" So I said, "All right." I gave him an envelope filled with fucking money. But I was doing well. I was making like $500 a week doing nothing. Back in those days, $500 was a lot of money.
Yeah. So was your dad involved? Was your dad involved with that at all?
No, he just ran a cafe, and Sally used to come in there, and guys used to come in the store all the time. It wasn't just him. It was Sally came in, the guy Nicky Masson used to come in, the Arenas, Angelo Ruggiero, John Gotti's guy used to come in. It was a lot of guys used to come into that cafe. We had the Jewish guys come in there too. We had one Jewish guy from the neighborhood, Stevie Adams.
Did your dad ever kick up or pay for protection?
No, nothing. He never had to do anything. Actually, funny you say that. We had a robbery. So two guys robbed the store one time because my uncle ran the cafe with my father, and they got stuck up. Some Puerto Rican guys or whatever, Spanish guys. And after that happened, a lot of the boys came into the shop. They were telling my father, "Listen, if you want, we'll find out who these guys are. We'll get your money back. We'll do this. We'll do that." And my dad goes, "Listen, leave it alone. Let the cops take care of it. I don't want to." My father just didn't want to get mixed up, So he left it alone, But a lot of the guys they respected my dad. They loved coming to the cafe. They loved hanging out. My father never gave him lip. They used to sit in the back of the cafe. Nobody bothered them. It was a hangout kind of a place almost.
Yeah, like these neighborhoods when people with made status are around these neighborhoods, people are giving them respect, right? Back in the day, they would.
Well, back in the day, yeah, they would. I mean, like I said, when a lot of the guys used to come and sit in the back, we would leave 2-3 tables empty in front of them, so nobody would sit. People knew. People understood. Nobody said, "Oh, can I sit over there?" They knew. They didn't even bother even asking because they just, they understood what's going on.
Have you ever met Gas Pipe Casso?
No, but I knew a guy that did business with him that kicked money up to him. He was the head of the Greek crew in Astoria. His name is Spiro Valenzis. I know the whole family. And being Greek myself, I used to go hang out at some of his places in Queens. Spiro ran the Greek crew in Astoria that kicked up money to Gas Pipe, which was the Lucchese crew. So that's how I don't know. I never met Gas Pipe. I knew his son. I never met his son, but him and his son became friends. But I never met him. But the guy he dealt with, I did.
Yeah.
But that was years ago. But Spiro right now, the Greek is doing a life term now. He's been in years. He's been in prison since like '92.
Who is that? Pete the Greek?
No, not Pete. You're thinking about. Well, I don't know which Pete the Greek you mean. There's like two of them.
Yeah, no, there's probably like 10 of them. You know those.
Maybe more.
You know the people with all those crazy nicknames, man.
Yeah, I mean the Pete the Greek. Is the only Pete the Greek that I know that was really so-called famous was Peter Diapoulos, who was Joey Gallo's bodyguard, who was there when Joey got shot and killed at Umberto's. That was back in '72. The other
Didn't
Pete
he
the
end
Greek.
up getting killed too? He ended up getting killed too, right?
No, Pete the Greek got shot in the ass, believe it or not. And he took after he got shot, he got arrested, but then he took off and left for Greece. Nobody ever knew what happened to him after that. But the other guy was.
No, go ahead.
No, the other guy was Pete Caracos. Pete Caracos was the guy Spiro I told you about. Pete was Spiro's boss. After Pete passed away, Spiro took over. So Pete the Greek was there first. Peter Caracos was paying the Lucchese's first before Spiro came in, which was in the mid-'70s.
Were they paying him for protection in the things that they were doing?
Yes. Yeah. They had the Lucchese's ran the Astoria, Queens area, and for the Greeks to be allowed to operate, they would kick up about, I don't know, 20 grand a month to operate. But they made a heck of a lot more than that. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
They used to make about. Well, one gambling den alone was making like 250 grand a week.
Wow.
And that's back in the '80s.
And I'm sure some of them made more than that.
Well, they had a bunch of them. They had just one. They had dice games and horse parlors where guys would go bet on horses.
So, do you think they have those now?
No, the Greeks don't have any power anymore. That's changed. The Albanians moved in, tried to move in. They were there for a little bit, but then they're gone too. They all got pinched, the whole entire Albanian organization. That was back in the late '80s, beginning '90s. Actually, late '90s. Sorry, mid '90s. Because when Spiro went away is when the Albanians tried to move in.
Yeah.
And they had a big. They almost went to war with the Gambinos. Almost.
Oh, the Albanians did?
Yeah. I don't know if you know the story, but
no, I don't. So where did the whole Albanian the organization come about? Was it always in New York?
No, well, the Alex Rudai was the boss of the Albanians, and they called their group. I believe they called it the.
And what year was that?
Late '80s. Around the late '80s, they might have been around before that, but they weren't as organized. Alex Rudai organized them, and they tried to muscle the Italians. And when they went after the Greeks, the Gambinos got involved, and this guy Arnold Squitieri was the captain in the Gambino crew, and he set up a meeting with the Albanians at a gas station in Brooklyn. I believe it was in Brooklyn, yeah. And the Italians brought like about 30 guys with them. The Albanians they brought about 12. They were outnumbered. So Squitieri is talking to the Albanians. I think maybe it was Alex, and the Albanian goes to him, tells Squitieri, "You got two choices. either take our offer, or then he pulls out a freaking machine gun, M16. I think it was a whatever machine, AK-47, whatever it was, and he's aiming it at the gas tank. And he said, either take my offer, or I'm going to shoot the gas tank, and we all go to hell.
What?
The secretary backed up and said, okay.
Hold on, your audio's breaking
These guys
up.
are fucking nuts.
So what happened after that, man?
After he threatened to shoot up the gas station.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. What
Well,
happened
after he threatened to do that, the Italian. Well, the Italians backed off.
Oh, so it was
backed off and said, "Okay."
It was the Albanians or the Greeks did that?
No, the Albanians.
Oh, they threatened. They threatened to blow up. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. So the Italians backed, because Scuteri backed off at that point, and the Gambinos backed off. They said, "Okay." They agreed to the offer that the Albanians were giving, and they let it go. But after that, the Albanians got all pinched by the FBI, and they were done. So they're not really a factor anymore. I mean, they're around. They're just not really a factor.
A lot of them are still in jail from that roundup, huh? Probably.
Yeah, all of them are. Alex,
yeah,
he's still alive. I'm not 100%. But the Albanians are strong in their own country. They're strong in Albania. They're strong in Europe. They're that much of a factor here in the States.
Yeah, I seen a I watched a documentary about them.
Yeah, those guys were nuts. They're very wild. No, they don't have any. There's no control. They have no discipline, like the Italians do, or the Greeks. You know.
Yeah.
They're wild. They're a wild bunch, like the Russians. There's not enough discipline.
Every group has that wild bunch, you know.
Yeah, but at the same time, the reason why Cosa Nostra lasted this long, and it's still long, they have a certain amount of discipline. They don't go out to places. They don't go out killing his grandmother like the Mexicans or the Colombians. You know, that's why it lasted this long, because they know where to draw a line. You know, without trying to attract attention. These other guys attract too much attention. That's why they didn't last.
Yeah, they kill innocent people. They don't care if kids are around.
Oh no, not at all. That would be the Albanians, the Russians to some degree, the Mexicans, Colombians.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about.
The Irish.
That's what I'm talking about. The Italians and the Greeks and all, they don't do stuff like that. I'm sure they have, though.
They never did.
Get me wrong.
If they did, it was maybe.
I know they have.
They have. I mean, they have. Well, they haven't really. They haven't really. I mean, only one time that really I think that I know of that happened.
Hold on, your audio's real bad, man. I could barely. It's going in and out. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yeah, you're good now.
Is it better now?
Yeah. So yeah, the Albanians are crazy. I seen a documentary about them. And it was pretty nuts.
You're breaking up, brother.
Yeah, it's bad. I got a bad connection, man. It's a bad time. Hey, it's 7 o'clock. I gotta call my daughter. So I'm gonna do this intro out and make sure you hit the. Hold on. I want to thank you, Nick, for coming on the show, and make sure you go out and buy Nick's book, Prison Rule, and make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. Until next time.